Hey there, my fellow YouTubers. This is Cassandra72, and I would like to welcome everyone to the video. And if there are any new subscribers, I would like to welcome you to the channel. Okay, so today is Tuesday, December the 3rd, and my plan was to come to you with a week 28 update, and I anticipated it that it was going to be, which I say this every time, but I anticipated there was going to be a much shorter video. And then I just realized that I had a little snafu with the video that I recorded on November the 26th, and there was no sound. Um, so I'm just going to briefly recap that week, which was week 27. It was a week ending November the 21st. I did do the update on November the 26th. Um, I had taken shot number 28, I think in my upper right stomach. And yeah, um, I ended that week at 318.2, and which I apparently, yeah, which that was the weight I was on 1120. So Wednesday. I did not weigh apparently that Thursday, but at the time I was up zero point 0.6 pounds. And then when I took my shot on the 21st, it was that 5 milligrams. The previous shot would have been 7.5. That one was 5 to correct the issue that I had where I mistakenly took a 7.5 milligram when I was still on the 5 milligram regimen. And at that date, I was at 317 so far. So I was down 1.4 for the week, and I was down 44.6 pounds overall. And I told you that I plan to do 10 milligrams on 11/27. Now, what else I told you during that video? I have absolutely no clue. But yeah, that's where we were at that date. I can't believe that there's absolutely no sound. I absolutely don't know what happened at all. But anyway, I have tested to make sure that there should be sound to this video. So yeah, I'm really upset about that. But anyway, it is what it is. Things do happen. So today again is December the 3rd. And if I did not say so, I am doing the Mounjaro weight loss update. As I previously mentioned, I did do 5 milligram shot. This was shot number 29 for me, and this will be the week that ended November the 28th, which also would have encompassed um, Thanksgiving, I believe. Well, I know it encompassed Thanksgiving, but it encompassed Thanksgiving. However, it didn't, and I'll explain. So I actually ended that week at 316.6. So I was down 1.6 pounds for the week, ending with a total weight loss of 45 pounds um, for the end of that particular week. That actually ended up being pretty good. I finally broke into the 316s apparently for good, and that put me at a 45-pound weight loss, which according to Lose It is the equivalent of 21-liter bottles of water. So freaking amazing. And I did state that I did that in a lower mid stomach, I believe, at the 5 milligrams. Now, Thanksgiving was actually the 28th, but my family did not do Thanksgiving dinner until the 29th because my brother and my sister in law both had to work. And so we actually did Thanksgiving on the 29th, which was Friday. And amazing. But I know some people have stated that they moved their shot or they skipped their shot because of the fact that it was Thanksgiving. And I think that's part of what I talked about in the previous video as well, was that I had no intentions of skipping that, partly because I didn't want to get into the habit of saying that because life was happening, things were happening, that I wanted to go off of my regimen, as in it's not as a way to cheat. I don't want to put it that way, but as a basically it means to eat more. So yeah, partly because of that, and partly because I was moving up to the 10 milligrams, and I was really excited to do so. So I did take my shot on the 28th, um, and we had the Thanksgiving on the 29th, and I made a plate, which was full. Not overly so, but just by the time we took a little bit of everything, it was full, and I actually ate maybe 6 bites out of that dinner and was full. And I wrapped that plate up, and then I had it the next day. Never really did complete a full plate though. And then with the kids in the house, such as they are, everything was basically gone by I think Sunday. So yeah. So no real temptations there. I mean, I think I actually did wonderful. And I wanted to have desserts. I made sweet potato pies. Only made two of them. And if I have to say so myself, they were extremely good. And my brother had ordered a pumpkin cheesecake from someone that bakes at his job. And when I say I had a sliver of each, a sliver initially, and it was amazing. But even after I had, it's probably at least 30 minutes to an hour after I had my plate um, that I really ate nothing out of. Um, but that was, it almost put me over the edge. I want to see if I can show you on the phone what these plates look like, because I'll be quite honest with you, I still haven't figured out how to, I guess, insert a picture. I haven't gone back and done any real editing. But by the time you all see this, I'm gonna probably be at the point where I just say, you know what, forget it. Let's just go ahead and start posting these videos, because I've been doing videos now for months and haven't posted them yet. But yeah, so I'm just gonna try to show you my plate. This was my plate. Okay. You know, like I said, full, but it was really truly just a little bit of everything, and maybe a little bit more than I should have put up there, to be quite honest with you. But that was a before plate, and that's my after plate. Pretty much still freaking full, right? So yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna force it. I'm not. And so I enjoyed. Yeah, we enjoyed. We sat down. We talked. We fellowship. We had a great time. And once I would when I said I was done, I was done. Okay, so I'm gonna say that the 10 milligram is really doing this thing. I know a lot of people say 10 doesn't really do anything for them, or I have seen where they said it didn't do anything for them. And I think I remember seeing that people are saying like I guess the point 0.5 dosages are the ones that really are for the losing of weight, and the like the even numbers are for maintenance. I'm not sure how true that is or what have you. All I can say is it gave me excellent suppression. Excellent suppression. Food noise is definitely not there. Like it is basically, it's past lunchtime now, and I'm still sitting here, and I knew I had to eat, but of course I'm at work, and I was trying to really knock some things out. You know, for my breakfast, basically, I brought a banana, I had my yogurt, um, which I'm doing good on that so far today, get my protein in. I believe this yogurt has 11 grams of protein, the Chobani Greek yogurt, strawberry. So I'm still working on that, and I'm still working on my protein coffee, but I am getting those things in. And I did remember to bring that this time. Now, last week, I walked out the house. I had the protein coffee. I mean, I had the Javi um, and my little creamer, but I forgot to bring my protein shake. Um, and then today, I bought pure protein. So a little bit of Javi, a little bit of a creamer, and then the pure protein drink, which I got these off of Amazon. And when I was thinking I was getting premier protein, and I don't know. But I'm also a discount shopper, so I was going for the cheapest. But in any event, and they only had it in vanilla, which is it's fine. But yeah, 30 grams of protein in that. So when I finish that, I will have had 30 grams of protein there, and then the 11 with the um, with the yogurt puts me at 41 for just breakfast, which is almost halfway to the goal. If you're trying to get in at least 100 a day grams of protein. So yes, that is that. So I've already talked about Thanksgiving. Um, have a few little notes here. I try to reference back to, and if you see me looking down, that is what that is about. And so we're now, like I updated you on last week, so we're now on this week's update. Um, or yeah, this week's update, which is week 28. And it would have been for the week that ended. Oh, I did talk about that already. The week that ended 11/28, I was at 45 pounds. So now, a 45-pound loss. So this week, so far, as of this morning, I actually weighed in at 314. So far this week, I'm down 2.6 pounds, which brings my loss right now to 47.6 pounds over the 28 weeks. And I'm averaging still about 1.67-pound loss a week. And so that segues into where I want to talk about, just give you my end of the year goal has shifted, of course, because since I was kind of stalling a little bit there, or teeter tottering back and forth, I am not sure that I will reach that goal of being under 300 pounds by the end of the year, because that would mean I have to lose 14 pounds this month. And now I am on a 10 milligram shot. And like I said, to me, it's given excellent suppression, excellent, control of food noise. But I just don't see that happening. The most I lost, and it was on a 2.5 shot when I started out on Zepbound. My 2.5s were Zepbound that I did for 2 months. And I want to say that I lost 9.7 pounds that second month. And that is the most I have ever lost. As a matter of fact, the very first month I lost 7.9, and these numbers are off, because when I first started weighing, I was weighing on a Fitbit scale that measured to the tenth of a pound, and now I'm on Rampo, which only measures to 2/10 of a pound, or in even numbers, rather. So, that threw me a little bit when I was going back looking at the numbers. Like, how was it 7.9 and not 7.8 or 8 pounds? But anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, the most I've lost is just under 10 pounds in a month. So unless 10 comes through and really does some wonderful things, which I do have faith that it will, I do not think that I will get under 300. I'm going to say that we're going to move that to the end of January as a goal. And I am hoping that I will just get down to 307. That is my end of the year goal. And with that, that's all the, I guess, the scale related stuff. So I'll get into the non-scale victories, which aren't really a lot this week. Um, I will just talk about my the shirts that I get from this company called Izzy and Lib in my subscription box. I did move my shirts down from a 3X to a 2X, and which I have been getting 3X forever. Um, but I feel like I'm firmly seated into that, the 2X category in most things. I do still have a couple of 3X things that are in the closet that, but I feel like it's just like with anything else, different brands, different ways that they were cut, lends itself to whether or not things are going to be a little bit tight on you or what have you. So, for instance, I just got my November box on Friday. Yeah, I got my November box on Friday, and there's a T-shirt in every box. And the shirt that was this month's T-shirt fit. It was a little snug fitting though, but it was due to the fact that it was a little bit of a stiffer material. Plus, it had basically like a vinyl type applique on the front, which of course would lend itself to not really having room to give in the front, but it still fit. And then for whatever reason, they threw in an additional shirt, which is a shirt I already have, but that's fine because in my mind I was thinking, you know what? Some of these shirts I have had for a while, and I do make the habit of now. One of my favorite things to do is nap. I love to nap, um, which is so funny. We had the shirt we got last month, I think, said I like '90s music and naps or something like that. And so I'm like, this is definitely me. I am the nap queen. So I do have the habit of taking a nap, and of course, still being in the shirt. And um, when you have things like you can see the shirt that I have on today is one of them. When you have patterns and like vinyl like things on the front, it's not really conducive to sleeping in. So that can be a bad thing. You can kind of damage things when they're rubbing up against bedding and stuff like that. So this particular shirt was one that I really like, and I think this one, I said I probably would need to replace. And so that was actually good that I got a shirt in the 2X size, because I said, you know what, in a minute, and it'll help me to purge. Some of these shirts are going to be a little bit too big, before long, and hopefully by the summer, they're going to be too big. And if I really like them, I'm going to have to look into seeing if I can order them, from the site. Yeah, so, but put that one on and it fit like a dream. And then this one I have on today, this is one from a couple months back, and it just slid right on. My arms are still, big, so the sleeves feel like they really kind of just fit, but it's like so much room in the waist area. And I forgot. It's always something that I mean to talk about, and I forget. But I still think we're good because I'm just shy of 19 minutes right now. So, which I wanted to talk about my results from taking AM Shred, which is a blend of AOD 9604, BPC 157, and Samoralin, I believe. Those peptides. And so I started those actually on November the 18th, I believe it was. And the scan that I did, we'll talk about my Me 360 results. And then that's the last of the actual weight loss or body composition type information. Um, so yeah, I should have taken my measurements on the 28th, because that put me at the end of another box. And I actually was down 6 pounds total for the last month's box. So yeah. But I did take a um took measurements on the 18th, because I was about to take my first shot on the 19th. That regimen that I'm doing is a situation where you don't really do it every day. They say 5 days on and 2 days off. And really and truthfully, that probably can be like any 5 days. But just to make things easier in my mind, I decided Monday through Friday, off Saturday and Sunday. So even though I didn't start it until Tuesday, that meant I only did 4 shots the first week and then 5 the next week. But I really should have taken the measurements on the 28th. Well, not necessarily, because the 28th was my ninth shot. But as far as in keeping with the Mounjaro updates, it should have been the 28th, but I didn't think about it until the 30th. And so that is when I took it. When I compare those two dates in Me 360, I'm attributing this to the AM shred. My body fat went from 54.4% to 51.4, so down 3% body fat. My chest went from 57 to 54.1, so a loss of 2.9. My stomach, guys, went from 58.9 inches to 54.7. That's a loss of 4.2 inches. My waist went from 53.4 to 49.6, a loss of 3.8 inches. My hips went from 58.7 inches down to 56.1, which is a loss of 2.6 inches. And so if we just look at basically the stomach, waist, and hip only, you're looking at over 10 inches in those areas alone. My bicep went from 19.3 on the left to 18.7, the right 18.5 to 17.9, so zero point 0.6 it says in both of those, which, when I do my measurements, I'm getting like 22 because, I have a lot of flab. And I don't know how 360 measures, what portion of that, like, it really measures or whatever. And I guess if I really was to squeeze it in, but that's not how I will look at stuff because I can't probably fit into a sleeve that's 20 inches if I got, a couple of inches of flab. Like, that's going to still be tight, right? So, but anyway, that's what it is. You take these things sort of with a grain of salt, but they do actually provide you some, at least, metrics to know that things are changing. Your body composition is changing. Now, if you want to truly get in depth with it, you're going to have to do some more scientific, a scientific type method. With your doctor, or the DEXA scan isn't going to do this, but basically, like the body composition scales, they serve as like a guideline. But if you really want those true numbers, then you go get it done professionally, right? So, but this is still a good point of reference. Then my forearms supposedly went from 13.8 on my right to 13.6. And then, I'm sorry, on my left went from 13.8 to 13.6. The right supposedly went 13.4 to 13.1. So 0.2 and 0.3 inches there. And my thighs, my left went from 31.5 to 30.5. And the right the left 31.1 to 30.5. And then the right 31.5 to 30.9. So a negative 0.6 inches on each of those. And then my calves, the left stayed the same at 19.5, and the right supposedly went from 19.5 to 19.7. And my body surface area overall is down 0.5 from 24.7 feet to 24.2, and my lean body mass is up from 145.6 to 153.3, and that's just in 2 weeks, 12 days, and only a loss of 3.6 pounds. So, and at that point, still no exercise. So there's that. Now, I want to give you a comparison of where I was on October 31st versus November 30th. So that is the comparison of the full month regimen of the Mounjaro. And overall, supposedly I was up 50.9% body fat to 51.4. So I'm up there, but I was down in the 2 weeks. So somewhere there, my body fat had actually increased, but actually now it's going back down. But okay. And my chest, I'm down 3.2 inches, stomach down 2.5, waist down 3.2, up zero point 0.4 in the hips, both biceps are now 0.5, down 0.3 in the left forearm and 0.5 in the right. I'm actually up 0.5 and 0.4 respectively in the left and right thighs, and up 0.1 and 0.3 in the calves. My body surface area still has gone down 24.5 to 24.2, and my lean body mass actually looks like I'm down overall for the month. But like I said, somewhere in there, it increased. And in the last couple of weeks, I had amazing results. But that's where we are. And I guess just for the heck of it, I'll go ahead and compare where I was from the start, well, 4 days after the start of my shots, to where I am currently, which was so May 21st of 2024 to November the 30th. And there I started out at 59.3% body fat, and I'm now at 51.4, so down 7.9. I'm down 5.4 inches in my chest, 8.2 in my stomach, 9.2 in my waist, 7.7 in my hips. My left bicep is down 1.3. My right bicep is down 0.7. Still says my left forearm is up 1 inch. Right forearm is up 2.2 inches. My thighs, however, are down 4 inches in the left, 4.4 in the right. And my calves are up 1.1 on my left and zero point 0.9 on my right. My body surface area definitely still has decreased overall. Started at 27.5 and down 24.2. And my lean body mass has gone up 8.1 from 145.2 to 153.3. So overall, excellent results. And I could not be happier. So yeah, that's where we are at with those metrics. And then finally, the best part, the best NSV ever. And it is funny because I hadn't really heard anybody talk about the fact that I had lost weight um, or mention that they think that I might have lost anything, you know. And it a couple weeks ago, I think my brother and sister-in-law, you know, they were seeing me from the back and they were like, "Oh, you really have lost weight." You know, yeah, you could really tell. Now, but this was after I had said, you know what, I lost 40 pounds. And y'all ain't saying nothing. And so, but then I'm around the house all the time and like lounging clothes and stuff like that because we all do live together currently. And yeah, so it's not like you really seeing me dressed or whatever. And we happen to be all going out together and I was in front and they was like, oh yeah, you really have. Um, and then of course, I did ride with my brother to pick up my nephew for Thanksgiving. I think it was Wednesday, and we happened to stop by and see a couple of my aunts and my aunt and uncles, and you know, the people who are on my mother's side of the family, you know, really didn't say anything. But I think I did mention to my uncle. I showed him pictures. I'm like, yeah, I look the same from what you know you would have last seen me as, but I had gained quite a bit of weight. I had got up to like 380 at one point. Um, and I started this weight loss on this medication at 361, but yeah, I'm down. So of course they wouldn't have said anything because, like I said, I look the same as they would have been seeing me, you know, pretty much for years. I've been, you know, around the 300, 20-pound mark or whatever. So it wouldn't have been much difference to them. But now, when I sat down to do this video, all of a sudden nature called, and I'm like, I got to go. And so as I'm going around the corner to the bathroom, I run into a couple of coworkers, and I say, "How y'all doing?" Now the one really wouldn't really know too much because she's new, and I haven't known her but a couple months anyway. But the other one, she was like, "Cassandra, you slimming down." I said, "A little bit." She said, "No, a lot." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And so that entirely made my day. So that was the biggest non-skill victory I probably could have asked for. And at the end of the day, I knew, if anyone was going to say anything, that was going to be one of the ones that said something because she has mentioned that she's already lost weight before when I really hadn't. So, um, like last year sometime or even prior to that. So I'm excited to report that, like, no, a lot. Yes, finally. So yeah, I'm super stoked about that. So yeah, but I think that is all I got for you guys. I really do. I think that's it. So again, I hate that last week's video did not have any sound, and I'll have to keep a closer check on those things from here on out. Um, Especially when I thought I tested it last week too, but it is what it is. But if you guys have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, until the next video, peace and blessings.